Hi, my name is James from MrPrime.com, and here is a super quick video to answer frequently answered questions that we get from clients. So this is a PPC account that we've just set up for a client, and basically one of the questions we often get asked is, now you've set this up for us, can you give us a quick walkthrough and show us how it works and what you've done basically. So I'm going to do a quick walkthrough. I'm making this up as I'm going along basically, but it's really just to solve two problems. It's to answer the customer's questions, and then also just to kind of to give anybody that's watching this a quick view on what we do and how we do it and how you can get a good ACOS actually as well. So I'm going to give a very brief overview on some of this stuff, and we'll just have a look as we go in. So some of the stuff, so we've just set up this PPC account for this client. It's only been live for about 3 days, I think. So if we have a look on here, this again, so I'll show you some of these actions here. So in here is where you can edit the date ranges that it shows you. So at the moment it's showing last 7 days. You can see it's showing a spend of 57,442 return, and that's an ACOS of 12.9. So that's considered a good ACOS. Round about kind of 12 is definitely considered a good ACOS. Anything, it depends on your return on your cost of goods and those kind of things as well. But anything up to generally between 20 and 30 is considered okay. Anything much below that is really, really good. So if you're doing kind of 10 around there, you're doing quite well. But again, it depends on your cost of goods really. So it's different for every single client, and depending on who they are and what their costs are and that kind of thing. But generally 10 to 12 would be considered quite good. So let's have a look if we just do the last few days. So we're now here. So if we do from Monday to Thursday on October 23rd, this shouldn't change. So yeah, it's actually the last 3 days. This has only been live basically. And what we do is we put these accounts, we put these campaigns up, and then we basically have a look and see what happens, let them run. And what we're effectively doing is buying data. So we're buying keywords in the back end, and we're finding out what works and what doesn't. Now you can adjust any of these columns to make them a bit easier to kind of see, because there's lots of information in here. So if we click customize columns here, we can take out all the kind of, there's lots of info in there you can see that you may or may not want. But if you're just starting out, there's probably quite a bit too much information in there. So if we take out a whole ton of this stuff, you can do that by clicking in columns here, and then click customize columns, and let's have a look. There's a lot of stuff that could be a bit confusing. So some of the main things you just want to look at is you don't really need start date, end date. Budget is quite good. Impressions are definitely good. Let's have a look through here. Spend, yeah. Cost per click, orders, sales, yeah. ACOS, you do want ROAS, yeah. So all this other stuff, there's a lot of stuff to do with videos and that kind of thing as well, which it's just ends up being blank columns if you're not using videos, particularly if you've only just launched a campaign as well. So if you take all of that off, it just leaves you with a few things here, and it makes it a lot easier to see. And you can adjust any of that as you're going. And then also you can adjust these columns here just to make it a bit smaller and a bit easier to see actually as well. Sometimes they don't quite work as they should, but there you go. So having a look across here, then basically you can filter this by ACOS, so advertising cost of spend. There's probably, we'll do another video on that later, but basically, as I said, anything that's kind of 30 or below is considered good. And what actually we're doing here is looking at some of these, and then when these have launched, looking at broad campaigns. So generally what we do is launch auto campaigns, and then broad phrase and exact campaigns, looking at different keywords. And then if the ACOS starts getting a bit high, then what we'll do is go into there and look at these campaigns by adding negative keywords and bringing that ACOS down. And then generally the main aim is across the board to get all of these campaigns up in spending, but then also it's all about the ACOS across all of them. So the ACOS there, which is, as I said, 12.9 is good, and a return on advertising spend ROAS of 7, nearly 8 is actually really good. So let's have a look. And one of the main things we often recommend to do, that we do actually, is always set up an auto campaign to start with. So if you look in the auto campaign, I haven't even looked at this myself yet. Let's have a look and see how it's doing. So it's doing, spent £7, got 26 in return in the last couple of days. This is just one small campaign with a ROAS of 7.31. And again, you can add metrics in here actually as well. So we'll add the ACOS so we can see that as well. ACOS of 26. Okay, so that's not great, but actually then what we'll do with this is we'll go in here and look at what it is that caused that high ACOS. We'll start negativing some of those keywords because they will be kind of perhaps irrelevant ones. We can have a look in here. Let's open this up and have a look inside. And then one of the places you can have a look at stuff in here is targeting. So you can see kind of what they are. So we have close match, loose match, substitutes and complements. So we look at what's kind of spending really well on those and what isn't, and we can adjust these basically. And if you get one that isn't spending well, then we can turn it off. And we kind of evolve and optimize these as we go. That's basically the way to do it. If you get negative keywords, we put those in there. And then so basically what you may find is that there'll be a keyword that's generating loads of clicks and no sales. That means it's no good, so you want to get rid of it. So you put it in negative, and then that won't happen anymore. So that will mean your cost per click will go down. You won't be spending on keywords that are irrelevant, and then that means your ACOS will go down actually as well. So in search terms, you can have a look in here, and this will say what people have actually been searching for. So 4-year-old, I won't say that out loud actually because we may end up blurring some of this. So what that actually says in there, some of those keywords will actually be, we can look at those. And if they're not getting sales over a period of time, 1 click isn't enough to tell. But if they're getting more, lots and lots of clicks, then we can negative those and we can put them elsewhere. So that's just a brief overview of kind of how it all works. And then, as I said, we generally start by having, let's go back to the beginning here, all the campaigns. We generally start by having auto campaigns, broad phrase and exact campaigns, and then from those you can charge different amounts on the clicks, and then you can get a much granular, much easier kind of detailed view of what's working and what isn't. So there you go. Hopefully that makes sense. That's just a quick answer and a quick run through of what we do, how we set these up, and how you can optimize them for our client. Thanks.